is now open under the State Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Hanson Local Bylaw, Article 313, Section 5. This opening statement will apply for business conducted at this meeting. This meeting of the Hanson Conservation Commission will be audio recorded. Start with roll call, starting at the end.
Steve Smith. Ed Field. Dave Mansfield.
TJ Rope.
Lon Woodward. Frank Skellinger.
All right. We have 4 of our 5 commissioners tonight, so we do have a quorum. First up is a 7 o'clock hearing for a request for determination of applicability for removal of 3 trees for William Amaral.
Give a notice here on this item. Ready? Go for it. The Hanson Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 6, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Hanson Town Hall Selectmen's Meeting Room, 542 Liberty Street, Hanson, Mass. Pursuant to a request for determination of applicability for William Amaral. Parcel project, proposal for removal of 3 trees on property within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands at 559 on Hanson Street. Map 15, lot 1B-1 for William Amaral. The applicant is filing under Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Hanson Wetland Protection Bylaw, 313, Section 5, and rules and regulations. The Conservation Commission goes on as chairman, TJ Rope, vice chair.
I take it those are you, that's you?
Yes.
Floor is yours.
I'll speak.
Okay.
So, Mr. Amaral had a tree company come to his place of residence and begin to cut down some trees that he had designated, and I was alerted to that activity and went down to see whether there was any encroachment on the buffer zone, and I found that there is. So by the time I got there, there were 3 trees that had been cut down, and if you look at the sketch that Lon has given you, if you look where on the right where the wetland comes in a bit, these trees were about 50 plus or minus feet from the nose of that wetland. So they were within a couple of them were within the 50-foot buffer. One was about on the line. So I informed Mr. Amaral that he needed a permit for cutting the trees, and so he stopped the work and put in the paperwork to obtain a permit. So at this point, I recommend that you approve a variance for working in the 50-foot buffer zone and approve a determination as a -3 to permit the work that has already been done. You may want to talk about what you would like as mitigation. I would say that, however, that the lot is heavily vegetated in the front and along the wetland in the 50-foot buffer, and there probably doesn't need to be mitigation because the vegetation will grow back handily.
Are they grinding out the stumps or just cutting down the trees?
They just cut the trees. They cut them fairly close to the ground, actually. That's all I have.
Commissioners? Anything you want to add? Anybody else in the room? If there's no further questions, the chair would entertain a motion to issue a variance to work within the 50-foot buffer zone. Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? 400. And the chair would entertain a motion to close the hearing and issue a -3 determination and approve the project as presented.
So moved.
Second? Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? 400.
Okay. I'll mail the paperwork to you guys, okay? I'll mail it out to you guys when it's ready. Okay? Welcome. Yeah. Have a good night. Yep. See you guys later.
So, not yet being time for the Dunkin' Donuts hearing, move to the minutes of August 16th. It seems I picked the right night to have somewhere else to be. It seems like I picked the right night to be somewhere else.
Wrong one.
On page 3, the last paragraph is just a typo here. Commission went on the sidewalk in that area sometime a while back. Is that okay?
Sometime.
Is it like a space one? No, I'm just asking.
Well, sometime
A
while back. Sometime,
I
I
do
think it's
believe a
okay.
while is supposed to be 2 words.
A while? Are you sure?
No,
And you're saying a while back?
I said I think.
No, I'm just asking if that's.
I mean, I can just put sometime back, sometime a while,
Some time ago.
sometime ago. How about that?
Yeah, great.
Okay.
On the next page, halfway down, paragraph starts with Agent Nellinger. The last sentence, Chair Clemens stated approval of the design. I
Oh.
assume this box should be in there.
Of the design, yep. Okay.
The last page, motion to adjourn, doesn't have a second.
Oh, I'll have to look it up. Okay.
Which is really about all I can offer. So
I'll just save. Just those two. Okay.
everything gets
Thank
thrown
you.
off, I'm not gonna make a motion.
You don't want this back. All I got?
Anybody else? The chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of August 16th, 2023 as slightly amended.
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm abstaining. We'll look at the request for certificate of compliance for 135 Elm Street, or is that gonna take more than the 4 minutes we have before we're supposed to start?
Shouldn't take that long.
Frank, what do we have for 135 Elm?
This order of conditions was issued some time ago to allow the applicant to build a new house and tear down the old house and put in the septic system toward the rear of the lot. We allowed them to amend the order to, permit a, set of solar panels to be installed in the front part of the lot with a, cable, dug along the driveway and into the house.
Oh, this is the one that dug through the wetlands, right?
This is the one, yes, that was dug through the wetlands. The wetlands have been restored. The cable was taken out, and plantings were made. Ken Thompson was the, wetland scientist who oversaw that, and they are ready for a certificate of compliance.
Questions from commissioners? The chair would request, would entertain a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 135 Elm Street, map 35, lot 3.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same. 400. The time being reasonably close to 7:15. There's a public hearing for the repair of existing septic system and associated site work, 485 Liberty Street, map 81, lot 16. I'm sure the clerk will be happy to read the public hearing notice momentarily.
Hanson Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 6, 2023, 7:15 p.m. in Hanson Town Hall, Selectmen's Meeting Room, 542 Liberty Street, Hanson, Mass. Pursuant to a notice of intent for Eric Eskander, Cadet Enterprises, parcel and project, proposal for repair of existing septic system and associated site work at an existing restaurant within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands at Dunkin' Donuts, 485 Liberty Street, map 81, lot 16, for Eric Eskander, Cadet Enterprises, represented by Dana Alphadello, Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. 427 Columbia Road, Hanover, Mass. 02339. The applicant is filing under Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, Mass. General Chapter 1, Section 40, and the Town of Hanson Wetland Protection Bylaw, 313, Section 5, and Rules and Regulations. Conservation Commission, Philip Hunt, Chairman, DJ Rocky, Co-Chair. Vice Chair, sorry.
Not that it's particularly relevant to tonight, but do they have a DEP number yet?
They do.
They do, they got it after, we posted.
Okay. At request of the applicant, the hearing is going to be open tonight and continue to Wednesday, September 20th at 7:30 p.m. The chair would entertain a motion to continue that hearing per request of the applicant to the stated date.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? All right. Back to other business. We have a request for extension to the order of conditions for Lakeside Road, map 79, the roadway. Frank?
This, order of conditions is an old one that has been extended, a number of times, and, Mrs. Munn is asking that it be extended again, because, what's left to do is to, top the, paving. That was left undone pending the, sale of the 3 lots that have been divided off. However, that sale hasn't come through, and she's been awaiting some positive results there from land planning, which is a set of notice that you'll consider this later. So I suggested to her that she have it extended again, so that when these lots are sold, the successor will also take over this order and top the road, clean out the storm drainage and so forth. So, I'm recommending that you, approve an extension for 3 years.
Discussion with the commissioners.
How far do we want to extend it? How long?
3 years is kind of a.
I recommended 3 years, but you can certainly,
We can do
change that.
anything from, I think, an hour to whatever, but.
Right.
But usually 3 years, we can do 3 years, I'd love to do 3 years. 3 years has been the number that I've seen come across in the time I've been here. Then the chair would entertain a motion to approve the discussion and issue a 3-year extension to the order of conditions for the Lakeside Road, map 79, Road West. Moved in second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining?
Sign.
Signature heavy meeting. What do you think, Adam? Not that I blame you. Next up on the agenda is a request for an extension to an order of conditions for 1101 Main Street, map 42, lots 60 and 60A. Frank?
This order is a, quite an old order that was given to Ken Marston and Joe Marangiello for some work on the freezer building, which has now been made into a condominium unit owned by Mr. Marston. Mr. Marston is asking for this order to be extended because he's also been working on the little building in the middle of the lot, and he needs to come back before us with an amendment to this order to allow him to put in a septic system. So in the meantime, he needs to have engineering done and so forth, wetland scientists work done. So he's asked for an extension of this order to allow him to proceed with that. So I recommend that you approve that as well.
Commissioners? The chair would entertain a motion to approve the extension and issue a 3-year extension to this order of conditions for 1101 Main Street. Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? 400. Next on our agenda is the request for release of a bond to Ken and Kim McCormick for 34 Pennsylvania Avenue.
So this order was issued in 1998, and at that time, at the end of the work, which was to build a house on Pennsylvania Avenue, the commission asked for a bond to cover the final vegetation at the back of the lot. because the lot backs right up to a wetland. So the bond money has been sitting in the treasurer's office since 1998. I went out to see Mr. McCormick, and it's pretty clear that the site is very well vegetated, and the work was completed many years ago. So it occurred to me that it would be a good time to give him back his money, which amounts to about, I don't know, $1,200 and some odd dollars.
Wow.
The other figure?
125404.
Yes. $1,254. So I recommend that you give it back his money.
No comment. The chair then would entertain a motion to release the bond and return the money to the McCormicks. Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? 400. Ron already put that in, so you better make sure you sign on the right line.
There is another one that's from that same era, but I can't seem to find the person who paid in the money. So I'm still working on that one.
25 years, it's been a while.
Yes, I mean, for all I know, he could have died. It's been, what, 25 years?
All right. Next up on our agenda is Craig Mitey's management. Where do we stand with that?
We have,
That's whether it's going to get the man his money.
oh, we have the paperwork here, right?
No, I don't think they did anything for it, did they?
Well, this is about Craig Mitey's.
Oh, yeah, then I did.
This is about Craig Mitey's.
Oh, it's in here, site
All,
description.
wetlands?
Frank, it's in the packet.
Yeah.
Oh, in the package.
Yeah. I
Okay.
knew I did something.
Yeah, that seems to be.
So it is now September, and back at the beginning of the year, we talked to a firm called Water and Wetlands, who is probably the only New England company that does this kind of work besides Solitude Lake Management. And they came out and looked at our Phragmites on both the Camp Kewanee site and the Smitty's Bog site, and they said yes, they could do this, but it would be best to do it in the fall, because what they need to do is come and cut it and then come back a little later and use an herbicide on it. So recently I asked them for a formal proposal, which they have given us, and that's what's in the package. They want a whole bunch of money to do Smitty's Bog and a whole bunch of money to do Camp Kewanee. There is an old town meeting article which addresses Camp Kewanee, which has more than enough money in it to cover this, and we recently had approval of a town meeting article to take care of Smitty's Bogs, which is more than enough to handle the money that they're asking for Smitty's Bogs. So what we're asking here for is your approval to have Mrs. Green sign off on the procurement of these two proposals so that they can proceed with the treatments.
How do these numbers compare to what town meeting requested?
They're less. In the case of Camp Kewanee, it's quite a bit less.
It's like 14 grand on that account, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of money. still sitting there. The problem with Phragmites though
I
is
was saying, we're gonna be doing this
they
again
don't
next year.
go away,
And
that easily. So it's quite likely that they'll have to come back next year and maybe the year after that. They're not as tough to kill as Japanese knotweed. Knotweed.
not much is.
But, we can stop it from spreading all over Smitty's Bog if we take some action, so that's what this is about.
I do see a note in here that the town is responsible for providing water and wetlands with a valid order of conditions allowing the work. Does this fall under our blanket?
Yes, we have orders of conditions that will cover both sides.
Okay.
They're already in existence and extended. One of them is only extended through the end of this year, so at some point we'll have to revisit that one. I think that's the one for Smith's. So we'll have to revisit that.
So then in theory, once the town administrator signs the contract, we should be all set.
There is one thing I have to do before they come in, and that is check with the USDA and make sure it's okay with them to do Smitty's. Because you can't just do anything at Smitty's unless they know about it.
Rip the duck line out without telling them.
Don't say that, you're on the record.
That was a concerned citizen, not a commissioner.
Okay, got it.
Questions from the commission? Comments? Then the chair would entertain a motion to approve the town administrator to enter into the, was it one contract or two contracts?
Two.
The
One.
two contracts with Water and Wetland LLC for Phragmites treatment at Smitty's Bog and Camp Quaney.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 All opposed? 4-0. Need to sign anything or tell we sign?
You don't have to do anything, I have to take it down to you.
All right, Dave, you're up. Conservation property status.
All right. Well, I wanted to sprinkle up some information and stuff that I typed up. Just a quick review of the status. We didn't go over it last time. Thanks to Chris Hammond, the duck line has been removed. Highway picked up the trash from that. The Indian Crossway gate has been cleared and painted. The Smith-Nowazowski gate has been cleared, but we don't own the gate, so I'm not sure if we can or should paint it or not, but it's been cleared anyway by Mr. Smith.
I want to let the utility people know that they can go lock that back up. It's just wide open right now.
Did that resource gate?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
it hung, it was so overgrown that they couldn't even close it, so when I cleared it out, I just pushed open the rail.
I didn't even notice it, we painted it.
Yeah, well, we could. What the building, there's no trash trails are fine. We seem to have trail up there. Poor Meadow, trash pickup as usual. And Rocky Run, somebody put rocks in the crossing again. So removed. Town forest, there is a tree across the trail. It's easy to step over it, but for small dogs, it might be a problem, so I'll cut that out of there. I have not heard back from Nicole Riley on mowing the meadows or, I've been trying to talk to her, but still want to get a central meeting to discuss what they could do, what they're willing to do out there, and to come to some kind of agreement about the horses.
Who is Nicole Riley?
They're the ones that run the Red Horse Farm at the top of High
Oh,
Street.
okay.
They're the ones that had mowed that meadow before.
Mhm.
Anyway, I've got 2 phone calls into her. She's on the Historic Society, for the record, there's a meeting tomorrow, so I'm hoping I'll run into her, and I'm gonna try to set up a meeting with her at the commission, so Phil wants to just discuss it. They haven't done anything we have to bother them about, we just want to discuss possible help from them. So that's the update on that stuff.
Hold that thought for a second. Are you here for Lakeside Road? Okay.
Steve's been working diligently on the knotweed, to find the first meadow, and, I've been working on the knotweed at the bottom of the stairs, in the Piers Avenue. And, so far it's knotweed 10, meeting day 3. Or something. I'm going behind. Anyway, last month I did a Hanson, cable access with Mary Ann from Green Hanson about this adopted trail mission we're trying to get some people in the community that would like to help us out with trails. Sort of try to pick up and kind of bonding and sort of thing. And it seems like a good idea. We have more commissioners now and more associates now. And so my thought was to meet, I don't think we have to have a commissioner meeting. I think we just meet informally with Chris and Laura and Steve and anybody that's interested. And what I thought was, if we divide it up, we've kind of informally done it with Chris and Steve already, but we kind of divided it up, who's going to keep track of trash and monitoring the different properties. Kind of formalize that. And then before the Tuesday before the meeting, everybody can send me a quick note about update. I'll just put it on the grid if we have already. And hopefully that will start to lead to more volunteers, more citizen interest, where we can start to coordinate more volunteers and stuff to do some improvements. You know, do some other work in those situations. So, to that end, I don't need to read all this, but I wrote this up with those sorts of thoughts in mind. And what I did on one of these pages is 2 pages. It's kind of a statement of what's been going on in each of the properties, so that anybody that steps in and says, I'll pay attention to that one, they'll have a sense of what the ongoing issues or non-issues. For instance, Webster Billings doesn't need anything because but so that's what this is all about. And then at the end of it, I've got just a general kind of a list of sort of projects and things that we need to do. That's something we need to, I think, get serious about. For instance, mowing those meadows. It's critical that those meadows get mowed and mowed properly. But that's going to be expensive.
I just bought a mower to do it.
Did? Something you want to do?
You got a brush mower?
Like,
You have one of the big brush mowers?
48-inch commercial vehicle, pretty early.
Oh, wow.
okay, so if that's the case, then we need to get, you and I need to get together with Phil.
Yeah.
He's got some specs about how high it has to be mowed and when. So it's not just a matter of just cutting, it's some specifics. And that's where Nicole Riley comes in. She has offered to mow the other meadow, which takes a curse off us. But Phil wants to meet with her for the same reason. But that's great. So that might save some time. So,
For ground nesting birds, there are certain days.
oh yeah, well, Phil's aware of that.
Okay.
It has to be done at a certain time, certain height. So that's good news. We need to. I think we need to have some kind of a formal. I think you've been monitoring the season.
So that's,
Have you been watching the season? When you guys? The cedars that we planted down. Season. Oh, we do.
yeah, I mean, they're not going to get
So this is just a review of the project. We need some of them, like you already started the lower trail by the kiosk. Again, we're going to get together with Phil, find out exactly if he wants that to be a figure eight, I think, on both sides of the road. So we need to get together with Phil, see what he wants to do and when he wants to do it. Again, he's got time frames in mind. But that's good news for me if you want to do it. So there's that. Poor Meadow, we need a plan to deal with Poor Meadow. In the rainy season, it's wet in there. People are in there making their own trails around the waterlogged trails, and it's going to really deteriorate the trail. So we need a plan for that. these are my idea of what we need to address soon, not immediately. We need, Phil already knows about these, working on the signage for base of the trail. Town forest, not much there, it's in pretty good shape. The gate needs to be painted, the tree needs to be taken down. Here's the boat ramp, that's probably the Randall project. And, if and when we have any money in the bank, we need kiosk updates at Pierce Ave, Smithtown, Zelsty, Indian Crossing. We actually need our kiosk at Pierce Ave. Once we have some money in the account, and sleep with it, I think I'd like to get some money to build some kiosks.
How much of it do you think just the materials for kiosks?
Well, I figured this roughly before, somewhere, depending on how big.
Yep.
And how elaborate. If we don't make one with a roof on it, just like a simple one like they have for now, I think it's somewhere around, $1,500 bucks.
And then we could build it.
Yeah, I'm assuming you guys have nothing on that. And then, the last thing here is this trail mapping. So, I went on a Zoom meeting about a week and a half ago. It was sponsored by All Trails, and it was presented by the Western Conservation Commission. That's the company that Ricky sent. And All Trails, you guys all know All Trails. They have a program where it's a community, they're calling it public trail program, public lands program. And for no charge, they will edit our trails, or
The maps.
Maps. They'll edit them. We send the maps. They'll edit. I had a Zoom call with the rep from All Trails this afternoon. No charge to anyone who's interested. And he said he reviewed. I sent in an initial request. I met with him today, Zoom, and he said we're good to go. If we want to do it, they'd like to have us, and it looks like something they'd like to entertain. There's a lot of advantages to us, and there's no cost. And what it'll do is, you can make a map on All Trails. I've been doing it before. But it's a little clumsy to edit, and you're limited to what you can do on the map that you get on your phone, on your computer. This would give us access to their trail map people, staff, to work with us. And as he said, we can do it ourselves, but he said they'll set us up, and we could send them the maps that we have. We have maps already, but they're a little rough. He said they'll clean them up for us. No charge. They'll just do it, and then they'll also allow us to track usage in many ways. As far as they'll track how many people access our website, how many people do searches for our trails, not through our website. Use it. How many people actually use the trails. And it also clocks which direction people use the trails, which can be relevant as far as trail usage. But the bigger advantage for us would be that we can also do real-time updates. For instance, if Poor Meadow is swamped, trail is swamped, we could post at any given week or day, post a notice, temporary trail closures, or which ones are. Things like that we can do in sort of real time on their website. So anyone that accesses any of our trail maps through All Trails will see our notices. Or, no dogs, or dogs must be leashed. Any requirements that we have can all be posted, and they'll all come up to anybody that accesses the trails.
This is valuable to All Trails because they've got.
Well,
all of our.
their gain is they want to be the big gorilla in the trail map in the world. And they are. But they seem very willing to help, no charge. And he said that they're trail experts to work with us hand in glove, whatever we need. And we can also we'll have access to our trails on their dashboard. So we can do our own editing. We don't have to have them do it. He says if you want to add a trail, you want to change a trail, you want to edit the trail, we can just go on and do it. He said in the short term, he says I would recommend you just send us all the trails you have. We'll clean them up for you, send them back, and get you started. That was his recommendation. So my recommendation to the commission, I don't think anybody has.
Would it be what you need to get us to vote on it, and then you just call and say it's.
Yeah, he's all set to go. He sent me the, sort of the paperwork to actually make sure you have to look at the system. And, I figured that we should have two people that can access it, so I made a contact with him, so I didn't want it. And I think one of you guys, well, no, I think one of you guys, adept with computers should be the other access guy. I don't know who's interested or what. I don't know how much time it's got to be. But why don't we start with one of you guys that's so good with computers, just being the other point person. And between the two of us, we should be able to get this rolling. It just seems like no brainer. And it's something we think we really should do.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, it's fine. So anyway, that's the most important piece of business I have.
I think for the sake of posterity, the chair would entertain a motion. So move to approve the Hanson Conservation Commission entering this public lands partnership with All Trails. Second. Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 4-0-0.
You sent me a text with, I don't know how much information you need. I had to call him. You sent me a text
With what?
I don't know if they need you.
Email?
What email?
Yeah, sure.
Just send me that, and I'll send that paperwork in there tomorrow. He said they'll get the paperwork and they'll get back to us within a week, so we should be up on this one.
Oh, okay. Right.
And I'll get in touch with you and Steve about the specifics about how they need what from us.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one thing to comment on that you had talked about before, the adopt trail thing. So a thought had occurred to me, once we need to get that out to people, is, yeah, and I mean, I saw that a lot of the other boards, commissions, they have actually got it there, as we know it, but I don't think it would be terribly hard for us to squeeze in someplace, and then just have, the information template, just try to see if it's solicited.
Oh, for Hanson Day?
Yeah, if we can, yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to work that day.
I don't know if we can give, is there not somebody else, like, raising Hanson that we could put on their table or
Well,
something?
I'm just gonna have a table.
I don't know how stringent it is, but Lauren said it's very simple.
Yeah, my wife's gonna have a table, I can just hijack half her table.
Oh, you already have?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Ron, you have that stuff I typed up about the adopted trail, right?
Yeah.
And we also have the waiver forms.
Yeah.
Can we print up a bunch of them for Steve to?
Yeah, when is it, next week?
Yeah,
I have magnets too.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
Oh,
I have one of them on my fridge.
I'll give you a magnet.
You have to be a citizen.
Oh.
So I think, was it last year you and I still
Yeah.
did this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got the magnet signed.
So,
Did
can
you
have one.
What?
did you get that vote?
Yes,
You did.
on the,
Okay.
joining the All Trails.
Yeah.
I mean, sitting at a table the whole time.
Dave, I would like to get together with you over this list and put money on it,
Okay.
because I need, before town meeting, a spending plan for the conservation fund.
Okay.
As far as I know, they've given us back about $18,000. So we should have money in there to do some of what you want to do. But we're going before them for a substantial chunk of change to be added to the fund, and we're gonna need to identify where
What we're doing
spend
with
some
the
money
money.
at least.
Yeah, as soon as I can put that together probably tomorrow and catch up with you on, even Friday, you want Friday.
Whatever time is available to
See if
you.
I can do that tomorrow afternoon and get with you on Friday.
Okay.
And, what we might be able to do too is come up with something for this Hanson news thing.
Oh, that would be good.
Well, I mean, maybe put this stuff in, this All Trails thing and this stuff.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get to you as soon as I get some numbers, even tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, well, I mean, it doesn't have to be done instantly,
No,
it just
but-
needs to be done before town meeting.
Yeah, just as soon as we get rolling on it. I'll keep you posted.
I should have done that before we did property.
Oh, that's okay.
We did blow right by it, but there was a 7:30, hearing for Lakeside Road that is going to be continued per request of the applicant. to September 20th at 7 PM. I guess they're supposed to vote on, right? And I just abstained?
Yep.
Yeah. So the chair would entertain a motion to continue that hearing to Wednesday, September 20th at 7 PM.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And I'm abstaining.
Yep.
That was conservation properties, no property management, anything on open space acquisition, Frank?
Sorry?
Open space acquisition, any updates?
No, I know that Phil is working with John Pierce about light control, but so far, there's nothing from them, no motion from the other side.
We can get that update when Mr. Clemens rejoins us.
Yep.
So I think that brings us to paying the bills. Right?
Yeah,
The next hearing's not till 8.
it's just sure, we didn't get the public hearing one, so
Okay.
we just have,
Office supplies and peer review.
Yep.
Right. Can I sign a bill for county road?
Yes, you can.
$2.39.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's.
Probably fast forward through this part, we'll lose a few minutes.
Oh, this one.
So you wanna pass the invoices back down?
Right. Thank you.
Before we get to it, anybody planning on volunteering to run the meeting while I do? We have to have a floor.
Yeah.
I thought we would, well, yeah, but at least now I don't have to ask about the motion.
Did you show Dave? Dave.
I agree. It's been a pretty orderly meeting so far. We've done everything else on the agenda. I'm going home. I gotta go to
People.
Hmm?
Hold on, that's one.
Well, anything else to do, right?
Yes, huh?
Yeah. I'll stay
Cranberry Cove, and then
I think my wife's coming, so she can tell me everything you talked about.
Right.
I gotta leave the room, I'm not supposed to be comfortable so much.
Oh.
You got any surprise agenda items I don't know about?
some pictures of the cove that were taken as well.
Hey, Chris, is it possible for you to get up a general, I go down on here the cost of that mowing?
What's that?
Could you put together a general cost for that mowing? Estimate that? We need to do that in our budget.
Place, but I think that's just.
So, yeah, well,
This is nice pictures. County Commission, fire stuff. The old agreement 9-3. Probably should have, yeah. Sorry, not that that's not true. The time being approximately 8 p.m., we will move forward with our next agenda item, a notice of intent for an upgrade to the beach area, which would include trees, grass, and water management within 100 feet of the Cranberry Cove Pond Bank for the 460 Indian Head Street, map 4706, lot 330, Hanson Recreation Department, Camp County Commission, what's it officially under?
Camp County Commission.
Public hearing notice, please, Mr. Clerk.
Hanson Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 26, 2023 at 2 p.m. at the Hanson Town Hall, Selectmen's Meeting Room, 542 Liberty Street, Hanson, Mass. Pursuant to a notice of intent for Roger Means, Town of Hanson Recreation Department. Parcel and process. Proposal to operate a beach area which would include trees, grass, and water management within 100 feet of Cranberry Cove Pond Bank, within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands, and within 200 feet of perennial stream at Hampton Water, Cranberry Cove, 460 Indian Head Street, map 4706, lot 330, for Roger Means, Town of Hanson Recreation Department. The applicant is filing under Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Hanson Wetland Protection Bylaw, 313, Section 5, Rules and Regulations, and the Conservation Commission, under the Chairman, J. Rocky, Vice Chair.
Thank you for patiently waiting.
No problem.
So, floor is yours.
Thank you. The intent here is to correct some problems that are going on down there. As most of not everybody knows, we had flooding in the past. So we had hornets down there. Our intent is to get rid of some of the hornets by grassing in the upper portion. And I have some fungus here as well. Putting in 4 birch trees on the beach to provide some more shade. 2 some more trees on the outside. We're gonna put berms in to keep the exterior water from getting into the pond area. Wash on the beach and stuff again, as it has in the past several times. Just trying to make the place a better place for Hanson residents and anybody else that is in there. Trying to resolve a bunch of issues with one rush, if you will, getting it all done sometime within that portion there. The other water management issues, that's a separate issue, that's not coming under this heat. We're just trying to preserve the beaches.
Just for some clarification, last time Chair Clemens was asking about the stormwater management. So we have a company that came in that's going to be on that of the site, and they're going to draw an estimate for us for the stormwater management site as well. So we're still continuing on that path as well. I know that was something that the board was concerned about with the stormwater management. So we are moving forward, and that'll take a little bit of time to get that estimate back and also get that work.
As far as the confidential road, I'll answer any questions if you can.
I think one of the concerns was is this work gonna be redone or portions of it based on what happens next?
This should be a permanent fix for the beach itself. The temporary berm that I put in a year ago, poles and straw, raising the entrances to the gates, that has held the water outside, so it has not caused any more flooding or washout within the beach itself. So this here is to put something more permanent in, so it doesn't happen again.
So in light of getting the landscaping done as soon as possible, so one thing to come in, maybe do something with the hard landscaping, we'll do that and pay for that cost. It's critical for us, project timeline, to get landscaping done as soon as possible, even if we have to install one man in March or April or something along those lines, to pay that additional cost that has to go through. So we're fully aware of that, that something might have to be redone, but the camp, the camp has a budget that will sustain any cost that associated with that, so. What the work on. Up there.
Sure. You go anywhere.
Yes, I'm a landlord, in the street, friend of mine owned the property next door, and I'm wondering how you're going to, this is question number one of many. I also apologize for asking something that's been spoken because I'm already here. How are you going to stop our beach from rolling onto your beach? And it says here the sand is just due to the fog and it coming through the thing. It's glacial there, and sand is always going to be sand. Unless you put an awful lot of wall on top of that. And then our property lines meet. So you have a problem right here. You have somebody picked up an old thing, your river hawk people. You have my property line about 20 feet off, and you think you're going to come over 20 feet onto my property and scrape sand off.
No, we're not going beyond the beach that's already there.
Because your dock is right on my property line. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not going past that.
How do you expect me to stop my beach from eroding onto your beach?
All right, there is a stream that runs in between your property and our property.
No, there isn't.
On our side, we can see a stream that goes through there.
If you find a stream, but there's a culvert in the stream that's 40 feet from our property with the old cement thing there. That's not the property line. The property line is where the fence is.
Right.
There's no stream in the fence at that
Well,
point.
the culvert, the water runs out there, and then by the guardhouse,
The
there's
fence
a
is
stream
40
that runs
feet
down the
from
road.
the culvert. At least 40 feet from the culvert.
Probably, yes.
There is no stream.
Well,
The two
it
beaches,
leads
the
into
two
a stream, I
beaches,
misspoke.
the two beaches meet.
So, I'm sorry, your concern is your sand coming over to,
Well, I don't care if it goes over there up into you.
I mean, so
How are you putting a barrier in there or something to stop? It's natural.
I mean, we can't, I mean, in my opinion, we can't stop the erosion from every place that's on there. You know, it's our portion of it. So if your sand goes into near the dock, I mean, we can't do anything about that.
No, you can't.
I mean, we can try, but.
But you do understand this diagram is wrong, right? Because you show taking beach to about 20 feet to the left of the dock.
So that,
No, that is an old map, and that's not what
I
I'm
agree,
proposing.
because I bought the property line
In
a
the
lot
other
of
two
times.
pages that I put in there, that is what we're actually going to do. Between you and us, there's a bunch of vegetation,
Yeah,
so I don't think sand going either way is gonna be an issue.
okay,
so if you look at this map right here,
yeah,
this shows what we're trying to do. So the red line stops essentially right at the dock.
yeah,
And the dock goes right down the wetlands. You can't touch that, that's woods.
no,
So what we're looking to do, and Roger can correct me if I'm wrong, is essentially the blue line then right from the dock right here with the sand that stops on our property, we're gonna stop. We're not going into the woods and
okay.
getting
My
demolition in the woods.
other question is you want to enlarge the retention pond, which I don't really care. But it's not maintained now. I went down there and top full of brush.
I mean,
There's brush growing up in that retention pond. I can show you
It's
pictures.
just vegetation growing in there, yes.
Yes, there is. So it's not maintained now, and would you want to make it bigger, not maintain it?
We're looking to allow from the rainwater, more gallons of water to go into there and retain there before it spews over into any other location.
Right, but
Giving
if
it
you let
a
it
place to
keep
go.
growing up, then it's no longer that functional as a retention pond.
Now, as I was told, those plants are actually doing us a favor by drinking a lot of that water.
Okay.
I mean, that retention pond was put into place, I believe, last year, if I'm not mistaken.
It was cleaned up, all the brush was taken
More
out.
on an emergency basis, I'm gonna be frank, because what was happening is the water was essentially coming down, cutting right through the middle of the beach, very unsafe. You know, we have plans to increase the retention pond, and, you know, we can add that to our, if that's a concern of yours, we can add it,
I don't care.
okay.
It's not in there, but I was just wondering, it's not maintained, so.
I'm not so mind making that, so.
Last year, we had a backhoe in there, and they scraped it all up.
As long as we're clear where the property line is,
Not a problem, we're not going
and
anywhere
that's
near.
going to, you know, if there's, it always ends up being a problem to us when the town does something, and then
Right.
says, oh, it won't be a problem.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing any of that vegetation, that's between us, other than maintaining.
Okay.
Yeah, not to mention, there's still gonna be a strip of sand next to the pond. So that sand's still gonna be in, because we wanna kind of keep the beach. We wanna bring it back to a more natural state with the trees and the grass and things like that.
This,
Any other questions?
No,
I like the work that you've been doing. I think you guys are working hard at it.
Thank you, so appreciate it.
Frank?
We have no response from the DEP, and we should probably wait for that, because they've been rather active in giving comments. So I would recommend that you continue.
Okay.
Do we think it's soon, do they have it in, like, no response at all?
Oh, no, they're very responsive, but we just haven't got it yet. According to Andrew, he's swamped. He has 27 towns that he has to review notices of intent for. We're just one of them. but, he's very responsive, but, we don't have it yet. So we don't have a number yet either. So I recommend you, continue.
Looks as if we're kind of stalled by the DEP's.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you guys have any other questions, because we have, Mr. Sheen here is going to be doing the project for us, with Roger. I'm not sure if next time the DEP comes back, we'll need, Mr. Sheen here, or Felix. But do we need to file any additional paperwork for continuance?
You don't have to do anything but wait until the 20th.
Okay.
Hopefully we're in from the DEP in between.
Do you guys have any additional questions?
Do you have a definite proposed location for the trees you're planting? They're not on the sketch.
So, yes. So if you look on the pictures, that were provided on the beach, and red, I'm sorry, not red, the yellow stakes, that's where the trees are going, okay? So this is, how many meters?
Four inside, the brown paint on the top of the stakes, and 2 trees on the outside, brown on the stakes.
Right, so yeah.
I am.
You mentioned you're storing the sand on site. What is the plan for the sand that you're taking out?
Some of it will be utilized to build up the berms,
Okay, so it'll stay on site in
to
various
stay on
areas.
site, and any other extra, if there's extra, will be within the camp to level off some areas.
Great, thank you.
Anything else from the commission? Anything else from abutters or the public? All right, so what time on the 20th? 7:45? The chair would entertain
No, fine.
the chair would entertain a motion to continue the hearing till September 20th at 7:45 p.m.
So moved.
Seconded. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? Abstaining? All right.
Okay, hope we get the answer.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
That's fine, thanks, right.
All right, next on the agenda is the 8:15 meeting for Zero County Road. The Chair of the Conservation Commission, Mr. Clemens, is not with us this evening. I am recused from the hearing under the state conflict of interest law. So the Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Dave Mansfield as the acting chair for the Zero County Road hearing. So moved. Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? I can vote on that part, right? Yeah. 4-0. All right. Best of luck, Dave.
I'll keep you posted about this.
My wife's there. She'll tell me what happened.
Good job, President.
Thanks.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Bye.
I'll take my trash for you.
Okay, since it's 8:15, move on to the continued notice of intent to construct 2 bituminous concrete roadways, cul-de-sac, turnarounds, associated sidewalks, underground utilities, drainage structures to create frontage for 9 lots of definitive subdivision located within 50 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands at Zero County Road. Map 74, lots 7 and 8, Meadowbrook Farms, formerly Fern Hill Estate, Verge Farms LLC, represented by Morse Engineering Company, Incorporated, P.O. Box 92, Situate, Mass. 0466, DEP number SE 175-0750. At the last meeting, we had reviewed the responses to the peer reviews and these comments. And I can refresh everyone's memory. Basically, you guys have answered those questions, right? And revised your plan appropriately. Is that correct? And we left that meeting with the idea that we needed some assurance that the stormwater management systems are being maintained. If I'm correct, if that's where we left it.
Right, exactly. So, right.
Okay, so would you like to lead on, Frank, or?
Let them lead off.
Okay.
Okay. So Jeff Hanson here with Morse Engineering, I'm here with Dave Ellis, the applicant. And that's absolutely correct. In the last meeting, we discussed that the peer reviewers, both Allen and Major and Verdantis, were satisfied with the plans and all their comments had been addressed. And we continued the project just for more information on the maintenance. So we did submit a letter on August 21st, which outlined, which clarified some of that. Basically, the planning board certificate of action has a G1 covenant, which will guarantee that the roadway and infrastructure are constructed properly. That is accomplished by basically a condition that the lot cannot be sold or built until an as-built plan is submitted to the planning board, reviewed by the reviewing engineer consultant, and approved by the planning board. The certificate of action also states, and I'll quote it, the applicant will only maintain the complete drainage system for a period of 5 years from the date of recording of the covenant or until the roadway goes before the town for roadway acceptance, whichever comes first. But that goes on to say, the applicant shall provide a copy of the homeowners association agreement outlining the maintenance procedures for the drainage system and the stormwater management pollution prevention that will be in place until the road is accepted as a public way by the town. This HOA must be approved by the planning board and town council prior to any water releases. And the applicant shall submit the estimated operation and maintenance budget in the post-construction operation and maintenance plan to the planning board for their approval prior to any water releases. So that, that's all accomplished through the planning board approval. However, we did also receive special conditions from your agent, which echoes those pretty well. So we recorded in 2 different places at the registry of deeds. But then you also add conditions about adding a bond to ensure that the maintenance is accomplished. So if that's the only outstanding thing, then we're certainly agreeable to accept that condition.
So, to carry on, I proposed some conditions that would go beyond our normal conditions for this kind of project. And I sent them to Mr. Ellis for his perusal and comment, and he did return some comments which I have and generally agree with. So the applicant has agreed that at the end of completion of the project, planning board will say it's now complete, that he will provide a $50,000 bond against the 5 years of maintenance that he's signed up for. And some other words that address how that bond will be handled. So I have no problem with that. I agree.
Okay, so this is in response to the last meeting where we had a lot of conversation about the need to maintain these stormwater management systems, and we've had history enhancement, not your properties, but history enhancement that hasn't been done has created problems for the town and for butters and so forth. And the butters have expressed concerns about that. So with that in mind, this is why we came up with this bond issue to guarantee the maintenance of the detention stormwater management. 5 years post-completion. So with that, I entertain any questions from the board, commission.
I haven't really, legally read the five,
Okay, these are the changes here. Do you have the changes?
I don't know.
These are the changes. They're mostly just language, substantive.
Am I hearing that the 50,000 is going to go for 5 years, no matter if the homeowners association is established or not?
That's right.
Okay.
And at the end of the 5 years, if, what if the town of Hanson rejects it, the town meeting, stay on the HOA?
I'm sorry, say it again.
If at the end of the 5-year term, it says until the town of Hanson agrees to accept the streets as by the town people at town meeting, what if they say no, and we don't take it, it stays 5 years?
Then the homeowners association will have to be in place, and they will have to take over.
If the 5-year term expires and the HOA doesn't exist yet?
I'm sorry.
No, the HOA must be created prior to water release and approved by the
Oh,
town.
okay. All right.
But if the town doesn't accept it as a town road within 5 years.
Well, I think if I could characterize what Jeff's saying, there will be an HOA in place, so they'll have the responsibility for it.
After 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just working out the various areas where construction goes longer, 5 years, runs around.
In other words, we're trying to protect this from a situation where there is no HOA. Now we have 9 homeowners that are clueless on stormwater prevention and don't do anything. That's basically what this is about, if I can characterize.
And there is,
Stepping back.
and there is language that each homeowner will be joining the HOA.
Well, that's the
That's going to be addressed by the planning board.
So the planning board conditions of approval will read, this homeowners association must be approved by the planning board and town council prior to any lot releases before they can sell or build on any of the lots.
So with that, I open the floor to any questions from butters or anything. I'd like to keep comments restricted to the subject at hand. We've been over and over the groundwater and issues with the soil and all up there. So we've kind of moved past that into the specifics of this. So I'd like to hold discussion to that, if you would, please. So, Mr. Sullivan.
Sure. Joe Sullivan, 625 West Washington Street. The end of last meeting, Dr. Spellinger said he saw no reason to reject this proposal. I have 10 million reasons to reject it. The 10 million reasons are the 10 million gallons from the additional septic systems that are going to go into an area with a perched water table, which allows the water table to be only 20 inches below the surface. All the stuff that you do to pile soil and fill on top of a perched water table doesn't change the geology underneath. That water will wind up expanding the already overstressed water system. And we have an example of that, the other end of the same wetlands was Pennsylvania Avenue. And when Pennsylvania Avenue put in its 13 homes, same thing, 4 bedrooms, and progressively the water has gotten worse and worse and worse, causing damage to people along West Washington Street. You have Red Acre Farm, lost some acreage for grazing their sheep. You have the company that Wilson Bobcats has had to put a $10,000 patio made out of cement so he can park his truck without them sinking in his backyard. My backyard, I can't even mow it for 3 days after a 1-inch rainstorm. Jerry Lozo had water damage in his basement, 12 inches worth of water. The Smiths, next to my house, have had their system back up. They had to put a French drain in and also put in a whole new septic system. So, your authority, I'm asking you tonight to be very clear, to vote this down tonight. And your authority comes from Article 13 of the bylaws that says, if in your judgment such a denial is necessary to preserve the environmental quality either of the subject lands and the contiguous lands, the term abutter also means property owners across the street or road, river, stream, brook, stream, or other wetland development. The project surrounded on 3 sides by wetlands, glacial soil, has a 3-inch clay aquiclude 20 to 30 inches below, and each house would use about 1 million gallons a year. That's 10 million gallons added to an already stressed. And to go further, the purpose of the bylaw is to protect wetlands, related water resources, enhanced by controlling activities deemed by you, the Conservation Commission, to have a significant or cumulative effect Pennsylvania Avenue effect didn't occur until 7 or 8 years after that one was put in. And you had testimony in a previous one, a previous hearing of this board, from Pepper Santa Lucia, who said, this is like the death of 1,000 cuts. We've got water coming in from one area, and now you're looking at allowing more water to come in from the other side. It's the same watershed, it's the same wetland. Okay, here are some of the things that would be affected: flood control, stormwater damage prevention, aesthetics, agricultural values. These are what collectively the wetland values protected by this bylaw. We have representatives from the blueberry farm here today. They're losing blueberry bushes each year because of the rise in water. That's on 10 across the street. You've had agricultural things going on with Red Acre Farm. Okay, so let me continue briefly here. I think this is a situation, if you look at your bylaws, section 6E, where no conditions would adequately protect the wetland values protected by this bylaw, you are allowed to reject it. Now, if you can come up with something that protects all of the abutters, and you have a copy of this document with, I think it's 62 names on it, of abutters who are taxpayers in this town, many have lived here their whole lives, and they're going to be affected by this. And it's going to be affected by the cumulative effect. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen as these millions and millions of gallons every year go back into the same perched water table. Haven't geologists believe it? Okay. So, my last statement is, please reject this tonight, because it's the right thing to do. You can't add 10 million gallons a year from these 9 4-bedroom houses to an already perched water table without causing tremendous damage. There will be damage to property. The town will be liable for that damage, in my opinion, if it goes through this board. So I think you should tonight vote this down. Thank you for your attention.
Joe, do you want to put that write-up that you made into the record?
Sure. Most of the stuff is highlighted, that's just me.
Okay. I'll scan the copy too.
Sure, that's fine, thank you.
So all of these items have been addressed and discussed at length in previous hearings. Just to reiterate, this project fully complies with the Wetlands Protection Act. It fully complies with the DEP stormwater standards. You had wetland line reviews, you had all of the engineering reviews, and the consultant consideration.
Can I comment on that? That's irrelevant. Because this committee has duties and authorities to protect these lands in this town, in this town of Hanson. That's your duty to protect. Whether or not there's been some technical aspects identified and satisfied, that's only half the question. The question is, what is your judgment as to the risk of these properties? Okay? Your judgment should be that there is high risk of these properties. Let me just give, you have some new members, so let me give you a little history. I don't remember how long ago, but more than a decade ago, Pennsylvania Avenue project came up with the same promises. People went to jail in that situation. The project damaged our property significantly. Abutters came to me and said, should we sue the town? I said, no. I convinced them not to sue the town. Abutters came to me recently and said, should we sue the town? I said, not. If wisdom prevails, no. Let me just give you a little bit of better understanding of the role of this committee. I know you've been members of it. Torrance, I know you've been wonderful members. The chairman has been a wonderful chairman, but there is confusion as to your duties and your authorities. I heard at the last meeting, well, we don't have the authority to exercise discretion. Wrong. We don't have the authority to exercise judgment. Wrong.
we're bound by the science. Wrong. No, that's part of the equation. You have to reject it if it didn't satisfy the first half, but you have the authority to reject their application if they don't satisfy the second half. Let me just read a couple of words here, and then I'll let others speak. The bylaws, Article 3:13. The duty is to protect the wetlands related to water resources, etc., of the town of Hanson by controlling activities deemed by the commission likely, not absolutely, likely to have a significant or cumulative effect upon the wetland values. The values of this property were damaged significantly last time. I don't know if it was millions of dollars, but it was a lot more than $50,000. It was probably 10 or 50 or 20 times $50,000. A bond for $50,000 is a joke. Now, if you don't know that, you need to know that. I'm going to bring in an insurance advisor to advise us and advise you as to the real risk here and what the insurance is going to cost for the town of Hanson to protect the town of Hanson, the town that we all love, from the liability if this thing goes wrong, which it almost certainly will, based on the people that I've talked to. That's number one. Number two, I would like your attorney, town attorney, to attend the next meeting, because I would like our attorney, if we engage one, to attend that meeting and explain to you what I'm saying to you in brief. I'd like that attorney to submit a brief to this committee, explain to you your responsibilities and authorities. The words that are in here: protect, 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 cumulative value, cumulative damage. Let me give you some other words here that are important. In its discretion, the committee, in its discretion, in its discretion. That means judgment and insight. Your discretion should not be unreasonable, but it has to be reasonable and not neglected in the decision you make. Determines. It's an important word. It's up to you to determine whether there's a risk of harm to these properties. The technical issues are only half of that. The other aspects come into the fray, including the history of the Pennsylvania Avenue, where this commission approved a project that was severely damaged to the abutters and to the town. Let me give you a couple more words. Deems necessary or desirable. Doesn't have to be necessary. It has to be desirable in the view of the commission that this project should be denied. In other words, if you think there's a 20% risk that what is going to be damaged, you should deny it. That's your discretion, and it's desirable to do that. You don't take risks with our property again. Now, you guys weren't on the commission last time, but the commission took risks that were inappropriate. As I said, some of the guys went to jail. Okay? Let's not do that same mistake this time. Let me give you a couple more words. Let's see. The interpretation and implementation of the bylaws are with the commission members. Joe already mentioned some of the activities that are affected. All of the activities we're talking about here are controlled by the bylaws. Security. You are authorized to have them put up $1 million bond or a $10 million bond. This $50,000 bond is a joke. And anybody
I would like to stop you to stop characterizing this bond as a joke.
Okay.
It's based on real numbers, and I take offense to that.
I am sorry?
You can object to the concept, but not to the dollar.
Sorry.
I feel that's unfair, and I want to hold you.
Okay. I want an insurance expert to tell the town and our abutters group what the real value should be. My guess is it's going to be in the millions of dollars, okay? But I want an expert, not us laymen, to determine what the bond should be.
Okay, let me explain on the bonds, because you keep characterizing it as a joke, which I object to. This bond is a response to the conversations we had last time about the need to protect the stormwater management systems through proper management and proper maintenance. That's what this bond is for. It's not an insurance policy.
Well,
I'd like to make that clear to the other people in the room here, so they're not misled by your comments.
okay, the town is gonna need an insurance policy to cover these damages, the rest of these damages. We didn't sue them the last time, but you better be sure that they're gonna be sued this time. And I predict that this project is gonna do great damage. Everything I've heard.
That's a different issue.
Thank you.
And as long as you put it in that perspective, we can entertain your conversation.
Thank you. I apologize 3 times. Over.
Okay, accept.
All right. Let me stop there. I think you get the hint that your lawyer, the town's lawyer, ought to be involved in these discussions, because there are legal issues. I think an insurance expert should be involved in these discussions, because there are insurance issues, particularly for the town. You know, I don't know what the town's gonna say about what bond they will want. I don't know where you came up with the 50,000. I don't know how that works, frankly.
Well, let's address it.
Yep.
The $50,000 is based on our best estimate
Yep.
for how much it'll cost to maintain those systems adequately in the 5 years post-completion.
Okay, that's one.
That's what the $50,000 is about.
That's
It's
one-
not about insurance.
It's a one small piece of this determination. I understand that. I don't know what the HOA is about, their insurance, their bond. If they're simply picking up a $50,000 bond and the project is doing millions of dollars of damage to the town and to its abutters, who's gonna cover that? It's gonna be the town. Who gets sued in this process? The town. I want these issues to be taken into consideration by the town attorney and an attorney. If we hire an attorney, we're talking to attorneys. If we have to bring an attorney in, we'd like him to make a presentation at the next meeting as well. This is something we want to avoid having litigation over. That's all I'm saying. I'll stop there.
Can you address the million gallons of water that is gonna build up? We've already been over this, I think.
700,000 would be a more reasonable number.
As a result of what?
The septic.
From the house, septic.
Sure, yeah, so the septic systems are governed by the Board of Health. The septic systems will be fully Title V compliant. And the Wetlands Protection Act actually states that if a septic is greater than 50 feet away from a wetland, which it is, the Wetlands Protection Act presumes that it meets all interests of the Wetlands Protection Act.
That's true.
That's your answer.
And also with respect to, with respect to the bonding, the planning board has the authority to bond the project, and they will do what they need to do. You're talking to the wrong commission here.
Well, I'm not talking about commission at all. You have discretion to deny this project. That's what I keep trying to convince you of. I try to convince you.
We have to abide by the rules.
No, that's the point. The rules are not what you think they are.
No, I don't agree with you.
The rules are only part technical.
And I leave it to these people to make a decision, but I don't agree with you at all.
Okay. I want the next meeting to include your town attorney.
Well, there may not be a next meeting.
Huh?
There may not be a next meeting.
Well, I think there really should be. You've granted these people continuous time after time. If you don't grant the abutters a continuance, I'll tell you, not a good idea.
You've had opportunities to speak at every single one of these meetings.
And we haven't felt that we needed an attorney. We haven't felt that we need.
Well, you're trying to intimidate us with this.
We're not
this
trying to.
attorney.
You talk about intimidation.
You're projecting the idea that there's going to be great damage. That's all speculation. You have no reason for that.
And the only thing the only thing that the committee needs to decide is there is significant risk of that damage. Doesn't have to conclude that there will be that damage over 10 years. Just that there's a significant risk, number one. Number two, you talk about intimidation. I understand it, that the members of this committee were sued by the developer, personally. But you talk about intimidation. Now, our intent is if this goes forward, we're gonna bring that to the Attorney General of Massachusetts. I extortion.
That's intimidation.
Okay? I believe you guys are all honest, don't get me wrong. But when a developer files a personal lawsuit against you, that is extortion under the law. Okay? So,
What's the result of this lawsuit?
the Attorney General,
What's the result of this lawsuit you're talking about?
the lawsuit would be a suit against the town.
No, the intimidation lawsuit.
You were personally sued for personal liability, is what I'm
What was the court's decision on that? What was the decision of the court?
It was a frivolous lawsuit. That's what the court's determination was. You know what a frivolous lawsuit is?
My point is, you don't know anything about it.
I don't know because it's been kept pretty secret.
There's nothing secret about it.
No.
Call up the court. It was
Well, tell us
dismissed.
about it if you want to. You were sued personally, correct?
It's not the subject of this meeting.
Okay. It is a
As
subject.
a representative from the applicant, myself and the applicant had no involvement in that project at all. It's a different matter. We are aware of it, and that's why we've taken these actions in for this project to make sure that does not happen again.
And we have gone back and forth with them multiple times, and they have always done what we've asked them to do to mitigate any issues we've had. I don't think there's any time they've come back or call where they said, no, we're not gonna do that.
Well, I think right there, if I could comment, it's irrelevant what these paid people did. It's irrelevant. They worked hard, the abutters have worked hard for decades to create value in their land that this project could destroy. Okay? That's the real issue. And the real issue is, do you think there's a significant risk, not an absolute that it's gonna happen, but a significant risk that will happen? If there is, in your judgment, in your, and giving your insight that will be the case, then you must deny the application. That's what the rules say.
This is why they've had several peer reviews. That's why they were denied the first time around. That's why the DEP backed up the denial. Now they've come back with a new plan, and they've addressed these questions. And as far as I can tell, it seems adequate that they've addressed them all.
Now,
Granted, it's been a long haul.
Grant a continuance for, the abutters to bring aboard an attorney and submit a brief to the committee. If you vote tonight without the chairman present to approve, big error. That's all I can say. Big error. It'll result in a lawsuit. Put it off for 4 weeks.
Let's stop talking about lawsuits, okay? Can we all agree on that? How about that?
I can't agree on that. No.
Okay, then, we can sit here till midnight talking about lawsuits, sir, but it's not gonna accomplish anything.
It's going to accomplish the fact that you should understand that those are the facts.
Okay, do I look like somebody that takes to intimidation very easily?
I don't think so, but I don't either.
Good. Well, I haven't heard anybody trying to intimidate you, sir.
I feel that the committee is not acting properly. That's what I'm saying to you. Under the law, okay? I don't think the committee understands its duties and authorities under the law.
We need to see significant risk in order to vote against this.
And that's why
you keep saying significant risk.
Yeah.
And we keep saying that we've had peer reviews done, and the DEP and all the calculations are in place to say there isn't significant risk. So somebody saying 100 gallons, this is about 1 million gallons, or whatever it is, that isn't part of this. The calculations have already been done according to, the ground makeup and everything else, to tell us that there isn't significant risk.
and
So,
insurance,
Berkeley, you had last, 2 weeks ago, you had said that the calculations actually included the 1 million gallons per hour.
No, what I said at the last meeting is that, I've never been asked to include septic flow in drainage calculations. It's really 2 different things. But what I did do is I calculated what is the daily flow from all the septic systems, added that volume of water to the storm events, And it's de minimis, it's so insignificant compared to the rainstorms that we've had lately, so the peer review cover that as well. It's not something that's typically reviewed in stormwater, you never review it, but just because of this question.
Well, you're accepting his point of view, we wouldn't accept it.
Well, as I
Well,
mentioned
peer
just now
review.
too, it's also, as long as it's a Board of Health matter, and the Wetlands Protection Act states that if the septic is greater than 50 feet away from the wetlands, they are presumed to meet all interests of the Wetlands Protection Act. Yeah, assuming they fully comply with the 75 percent.
Well, my bottom line, I'm requesting respectfully, you continue this meeting for 4 weeks, to have time to have an insurance expert and a legal expert give you their opinions on what the real risks are here. I think you'll find out they're substantial. I think, look, he has his opinion, I think other people have a different opinion. Joe is an expert to some extent in this area. Probably, if there is a lawsuit, there will be experts from the abutters point of view. I think we should avoid a lawsuit.
We don't have any.
We should get opinions on this.
The abutters can't.
I'm sorry.
The abutters can't require opinions.
Well, we can request.
You can request one, but the applicant has to agree with it, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am?
I have a question. If this $50,000 bond is in place, we just put in the septic system across the street at my son's house. It was $43,000. If you are, say you have 2 or 3 abutters that have septic system issues because of this project, you're over $100,000 to begin with.
I think there's a misconception about this bond. The bond has to do with assuring that the stormwater management systems are properly maintained 5 years after the completion of the project. They don't relate to septic systems in any way. It's about the stormwater management system.
But if they're not done properly.
Well, that's why we want the bond, so there will be. So the systems, according to the engineering and peer reviews, the systems are properly designed. They're only going to work if they're maintained, and that's been our concern. And that's where the bond comes from, to require that there's a bond assuring the maintenance will be proper for these systems.
And if he's not the builder, how does a homeowners association work? How do you form a homeowners association with different builders?
It won't be different buildings, it'll have to go with the deeds. Yeah.
Correct.
So the homeowners association is a requirement of the deeds. So in order for them to sell the properties, correct me if I'm wrong, in order for them to sell the properties, it'll have to have a homeowners association associated with the deed.
And they,
That was another one of our concerns that they addressed.
Does the town watch that?
Well, it's
Can you look over his shoulder?
a legal entity for the registry of deeds.
well, it's recorded in the registry.
Let me ask a different question. I understand what you're saying, that this only applies to 10% of what we're talking about. What protects the abutters from the other 90% of the problem? Potential. I understand that you're saying, no, maybe what they said is okay, we believe it. But what protects, what if this thing goes wrong, and there's too many dollars worth of damage to the abutters? The only recourse they have is to sue the town in that case.
This is based on proper maintenance of properly designed and installed systems. That's what this whole bond is about. It doesn't have to do with insurance for damages, and it doesn't have to do with septic systems.
I understand, I heard you say that. What is the protection for the abutters for the 90% of the problem? What if they have $2 million in damage?
We feel that if the systems are properly maintained, that there won't be a problem for the abutters. That's why we don't think that your fears of disaster are appropriate, because properly maintained systems should work well. Yes, ma'am?
Experts.
What's gonna happen, at the end of the 5 years if the town's not accepting those?
Well,
And who's responsible for maintaining?
that question was asked before, and I think the answer, you answered the question.
The HOA would
The
take,
HOA will have responsibility.
They have the right to disband if they want to.
No, they
HOA.
no,
They
they,
don't.
No, no,
Part of their deed.
it's in the deed.
So if I buy a house and I don't want to be in the home, I have to stay in?
Yeah.
You don't have to stay in the house, but you have to stay in the house. Right,
As long as you're in the house.
well, it would be similar to if you bought a condominium. You have to be in the homeowners association, you can't buy the condo and not be in the association.
That's
So-
all an individual house, which you wouldn't have to do.
Well, but that was one of our issues with it, and they've addressed that by saying that there will be a homeowners association, and it will be a legal entity to the rest.
Is that as long as they own the property?
Yeah,
Not 5 years?
if I'm not mistaken, that's correct.
so we have,
The permit stays with the property. It doesn't stay with the homeowner. It stays with the.
that's the man who knows, he's the realtor,
Pardon?
that's how it works.
So those are a couple of the questions that we had as well.
Mhm.
And now they've addressed them with this agreeing to the bond and with a clear statement of the homeowners association will be established.
You know, there's another issue in town, where the town has not accepted law.
Right?
Still has not, many.
But there are no owners associations, and that's been a problem. It's been a big problem.
That's the thing.
Yes.
the document. So if the HOA, say after the 5 years, I know nobody has a crystal ball or anything, but after the 5 years, the developers release the bond and $50,000 has to be done with maintenance, and then the HOA takes over for the maintenance. If they default on taking care of the maintenance, if they stop maintaining after the 5 years, the developer has their bond, now it's up to the HOA to maintain, is that, who do we talk to if they stop maintaining that? Because then, the risk is there, and there's no bond, and there's no recourse at all, and we're just kind of stuck on our own at that point. And I want to plan.
The zoning officer would have responsibility to take action to enforce. He would have to cite them and enforce it, and if necessary, go to court. I mean, it's our intent that the stormwater management systems be maintained. That's one of our jobs, and it will be maintained. And if we have to resort to enforcement, we can do that. We're empowered to do that.
Even once the HOA takes over.
That's right.
It's still subject to the laws, regardless. You can have a neighbor who violates the law, but then now there's violations. So I think that's the answer to that. It might be a difficult situation, but that would be the answer. I don't think we can assume that they won't take care of it. I mean, it's in their interest to take care of it as well.
Especially with proper basement. Okay, and the only other comment that I'm going to make, it sounds like you guys already have your minds made up, and this is what it is. The other lawsuit was brought up, I just want to make sure that you're approving because you feel like this is not going to negatively impact the abutters, not because you're being bullied into this decision. I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page with that.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
They've answered the questions that have been proposed. We've asked a lot of questions, as you folks all well know, going for a long time, and they've eventually made the revisions, corrections, and testing, and whatever needed to be done. And our peer reviewers have agreed that they've met those requirements.
And there weren't any inconsistencies or discrepancies this time like there was last time?
Not that I'm aware of. They've been peer reviewed, I think 3 peer reviews? 2. Yes, ma'am?
Just a quick, don't relate to party, I understand all of this, but as far as their requirement to maintain the bond for, is it just their property? My understanding is a lot of the stormwater is gonna come down the creek right next to my house that already floods.
Well, the stormwater, one of the issues with this project from the beginning had to do with stormwater management. was a big issue. And, the engineering has been finally refined so that we're satisfied that the DEP is satisfied that they've met all the requirements to install proper stormwater management system. Our question last time around was, and to address your concerns, was those systems are only good if they're maintained. That's why this whole subject of the bond was to make sure that those systems are maintained. And they have to be maintained yearly, by year, actually. And that's where we came up with the number. That's the appropriate number to properly maintain for 5 years.
I don't want to speak for Jeff, but I will anyway. The point of doing the engineering for the stormwater management system was to make sure that what happens today, what happens when the project is built is less water goes down gradient than what goes down today. It's required that the stormwater management retain the water or infiltrate the water so that no more water goes to you than is going to you now.
But if that turns out not to be the case, what happens?
Well, we don't have any reason to think that wouldn't be the case. It's been designed, redesigned, peer reviewed, and redesigned again. And all the people that are well informed on this assure us that it's properly designed.
Multiple experts have reviewed this many, many times. And like Dave said, the amount of water that comes from the sky onto this property, the same amount is going to go outside of this property. They've got it held, retained within the property, and it'll leach out the same as it would if that property wasn't there.
I don't get what the hurry is to approve this project before other experts opine on this. I don't get
How many experts have we got?
I haven't had experts from the abutters examine this. You've had perhaps somewhat expert people on the committee. You've had an expert over here who's looking only at the technical issues, not at the discretionary issues of risk. When statute says possible or likely short-term or long-term damage.
And there would be a possible long-term or short-term benefit if they weren't maintained.
Is that the only issue, maintenance?
Of the retention area, that they've been known to fail.
I'm not an expert in this area.
And I mean, I'm going based on other experts. I'm not an expert either. That's why we hired multiple experts, in the DEP.
So why would you deny my request for?
What is you have other experts or lawyers?
No, I have in mind bringing in an insurance expert who would determine what the risks are for the town and for the abutters if this project fails.
That's actually a planning board issue, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Well,
Could be.
he keeps talking about insurance, but the insurance people would have to hire hydrologists and engineers to help them make these decisions. And we've already hired them and gotten their views. I don't understand what would be new.
That's I think Frank put that clearly. That's what it is. It's an issue now. But there's nothing new to add to this debate that's been going on for quite a while.
Well, I mean, how do I know this stuff? I knew that. I would like an expert, insurance expert, to tell me what the real risks are, so they can inform you and inform the town.
But I think Frank just made the appropriate point that the insurance people aren't going to know anything about hydrology.
No, but they know about risk management, and they would know who to hire to assess what's been done.
Are you saying that the people we hired were not competent?
No, they probably were, but all
Extremely.
the time judgment goes into these issues. That's all I'm saying.
So you want to continue to hire experts until you get the answer you want?
No, because they hired experts, so they got the answer there.
No, I don't agree with that. We hired the expert, planning board hired an expert. We got the answer we were looking for.
From our expert.
The technical answer. The risk assessment has not been done properly, or I don't believe. I'm a risk management expert. I've done it federally and state and international. There is risk here that I don't think has been properly assessed according to the bylaws. That's what I'm saying. Give us more time to look at that.
I just don't see what more time, I get what you're saying, but I can see more time coming. You can come up next month and say, oh, well, we couldn't find somebody that really would go along with it, or we couldn't pay for it, or we couldn't, or nobody, you know, I don't know.
And then you could vote then. What's the hurry? What's 4 weeks?
It's been several years, already.
Yeah, and this was dead a year ago. It's resurrected itself. It's only been in the last year that it's really been alive again. You know, no one took it seriously that this thing would be approved until just recently. Now you've lit the fire. I suggest to you that you give a continuance here for 4 weeks.
Well, we cannot demand a continuance of the applicant.
I don't understand that. You have the jurisdiction to give a continuance. Why don't you have that? You have the legal, I'm sure, the legal authority to grant a continuance to anybody, applicant or not.
So the commission's job is to determine whether this project complies with the Budget Protection Act. For the last 9 months, we've been going back and forth with consultants, the commission, all the questions from you and anyone else who is interested in the project. We've addressed all of these comments. At this point, I don't see why we would grant another continuance. In the last hearing, we talked about one more to talk about the budget, which we did. At this point, if there's other consultants that personally you want to reach out to, you've had 9 months and every opportunity to do that.
Well,
we can't continue.
The chairman is not here. You have the authority and legal responsibility to manage this properly, okay? And proper management means that you give enough time to the abutters now to bring forward their answer.
In the last meeting, we did discuss with the board the one open item we had. We were ready to vote, except there was one open item, and we know how that went. And the one open item that we had, I don't think they could have addressed it any better than they have. The open item was the $50,000.
And I don't know how much business you guys have done, but $50,000 for that company is okay. $50,000. I know you took issue with what I said. $50,000.
It will help if they don't pay it. It will give us money to do the maintenance ourselves. We can't make it an exorbitant amount, just pull out a number. It's got to be related to what's in it.
What if they walk away from the project and you take over the maintenance and that doesn't work and the damage is $2 million? How does this get that out?
This doesn't count damage of $2 million. This counts maintaining the detention area.
I understand.
$50,000, that bond will, if they would walk away, that bond would go to us, the town, and the town would maintain the drainage area, spending the $50,000 bond.
They're based on your estimates that you guys provided.
Right.
They're based on information that you received.
I think you're missing the question I'm asking.
We don't have insurance we can't insure every town and say that no septic in town is going to fail Title V. We can't do that.
I'm asking a different question. I'm saying the $50,000 bond covers 10% of the risk here.
It doesn't cover any of the risk. It covers zero of the risk.
It covers maintaining
the risk that they will walk away from maintaining.
It covers 100% of the risk they walk away.
Of that risk, but not the bigger risk of the damages to the abutter if this project fails.
Which is insurance.
It's insurance that we will be able to that those drainage areas will be maintained. That's all this $50.
That's what I'm saying too.
Yeah.
It doesn't protect the abutters from the bigger projects.
That we've been, experts have told us this should not, beyond a reasonable doubt, happen.
Okay? And for Pennsylvania Avenue, that's what the expert said too.
I'm not 100% familiar with Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm dealing with what today's experts with today's technology are telling us. We can't say, the experts say X, Y, Z, but there's always that possibility. Yes, there is always a minute possibility that
Well, it's not minute.
wrong.
It was very material for Pennsylvania.
Okay, I need to call halt Pennsylvania Avenue. We've discussed Pennsylvania Avenue incessantly, and I think that's not new. We want new commentary if there is any, that's germane to the conversation tonight. If there's no new commentary, then we'll move to a vote. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just for the record, I'm State Senator Mike Brady. I've been before the commission before, and actually I wanted to hear from the residents first. But I'm still getting a lot of concerns from the residents about weather. And whether, with all due respect, whether different experts looked at this and felt all the things with that, I'm still hearing from a lot of residents that I represent several towns, and it tends to repeat itself, learn from our past. And I'm not saying anybody here is making a wrong decision with what happened in the past with other areas, but we've seen, I've witnessed the flooding in this neighborhood myself when there's been minimal rains, never mind this past summer like it's been. So I've got a letter to the commission. I'm just asking the Conservation Commission to deny this project. And I've also worked with Representative Cutler, who could not make it, one of his officers here, but a lot of the residents are concerned about the what ifs, because we really don't know what could happen down the road, but we have seen things in the past we don't learn from, and it tends to repeat itself if we don't correct that. So, for the record, I'm just recording myself in opposition, and I hope the residents that I represent. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And also, I do appreciate all the work you've done in the past, because there has been a lot of questions that haven't been completed in my estimation, in my opinion, because there's a lot of very much concerns of residents and representatives. Thank you for your time.
We do appreciate the concerns of the abutters. It's a wet area. Everybody's expressed they have water problems now. But fair to say that's not because of this particular project. There's water problems in the area. And with this bond, we feel that we can assure that stormwater management is done and maintained. So there's no new commentary.
I would suggest that you vote on the variance for the entrance.
That's right. Is that a separate, that's not a separate notice.
Oh, the entrance has a request for variance because it falls within the 50-foot buffer.
Oh, that's right.
You need to vote one way or the other.
Okay, so there's the chair would entertain a motion to issue a variance for work within the 50-foot buffer zone.
Second.
Oh,
No. So moved. Sorry.
second.
Okay, any discussion on that variance? That's the variance for the, what is it, 400?
That's the entrance.
Where,
Yeah, they had to cut the entrance out like that so that they could get out to the street. And so it slops over into the 50-foot.
Discussion?
That affect anything? Or is it just that they're trying to switch to the entrance?
It's basically so you can a couple lines. Comments on that? All in favor? Opposed? Any? Okay, so that takes care of the variance. The issue is to approve the notice of intent before it's read. Do we read it?
You need a motion to approve the order of conditions. if that's what you're going to do.
Well, we want a motion to approve the special conditions in addition, right?
No, they're gonna go into the order of conditions regardless.
Okay, so, I'd like to entertain a motion to issue, to vote for acceptance of the conditions for approval of this project.
Make sure you understand it's for the whole project.
Right.
Not just that single paper.
Yeah. In order of conditions for that project. So,
I'll make the motion. I'm gonna move, so move. Second. This is each homeowner, the builder will need to come before us for each home to be built. So this is just the roadway.
Each lot that breaks the 100-foot buffer.
Yeah.
Not all of them do.
But the ones that do will have to come to us. That's
And they all have to go to the Board of Health.
Is it true there was a high pressure gas main that goes down that right side of County Road to Shaw's? Because of Shaw's?
I don't know, because of Shaw, but I guess there's a name there.
There's a high pressure.
No, the question was,
Because they're gonna be digging, going into the project.
Right.
Yeah. Are we all gonna blow up? We'll be first. We're right there. I'll let you know.
yeah, they have to first people have to
I'm
build
kidding, but I'm not.
subdivision near gas lines. They are marked and they avoid them, and they don't break them. Please don't.
Yeah, I assume they don't want to blow this up.
I don't know if that's
So-
on our jurisdiction.
Further discussion on rules and conditions.
And then to close the hearing.
So, we have a motion to set the orders of conditions. We also need a vote on a motion to close the hearing, approve the project, subject to.
So, so do we need a vote on the first one? Do we have to vote?
This covers both, doesn't it?
Okay.
Either way you want to play.
It's up to you.
You have either one motion or two. Take two votes, and you'll be sure.
All right, let's take a vote on the motion to approve first, and then I'll take a motion on the vote. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? No. Motion to, close the hearing? Nay?
So,
All in favor?
aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So approved.
I have a question.
Yep.
Go ahead. Now that you've voted to approve, do the abutters have a chance to appeal with the DP?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, you can.
Do they start work while it's in appeal?
No.
No, you have that right?
What's that?
You have that right, absolutely.
Oh, I meant to. Thank you. This is your time.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
That works.
Thank you. Thank you all for
So we'll send the paper up to you.
So we were heroes before, now we're cowards.
Yeah, I know. What was that?
We were heroes before, but now we're cowards.
Can't win.
Oh,
Have a good one.
We roll.
Yeah.
So, we need a motion. Well, we don't need more business, do we?
Do we have one?
No, we're done?
So moved.
All in favor?
This one.